For the first time in 5 tries, SpaceX's Starship rocket managed a successful landing today. It came after another high-altitude test of the rocket, which SpaceX designed to carry people and cargo on missions to the moon and eventually Mars. A small fire did break out at the base of the rocket after it landed, but appeared to be contained in just a few minutes. Today is the 60th anniversary of astronaut Alan Shepard becoming the first American to go into space, and soon everyday people like you and me will be able to follow in his footsteps. Only 579 people have ever flown in space, but that number could be on the rise really soon, with Richard Branson's Virgin Atlantic and Elon Musk's SpaceX soon taking civilians into space. And Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin has announced it's auctioning off a seat on its July 20th space flight. Joining me to talk more about space travel for, I guess, everyone is a former astronaut and current MIT professor, Dr. Jeffrey Hoffman. Dr. Hoffman, always good to talk to you. We talked about Mars last time. Let's talk about space flight
yeah, nice
tonight.
to be back. And, you know, I was one of the lucky 579 people. So, and I have to say, I'm really excited about the idea that many more people will hopefully over the next decade have the opportunity to experience what I and my colleagues did. Obviously, they'll be going as tourists, not as working astronauts, but nevertheless, it's an incredible experience. And the more people who can share in it, the better, as far as I'm concerned.
So you were with NASA 1978 to 1997. You flew on 5 space flights on the space shuttle. What do you think about the current technology when it comes to all these different spacecrafts that are happening now, just in the last really 30 or 40 years? What do you think about that?
Well, you know, NASA realized in the design of the space shuttle the importance of reusability. The space shuttle was the first partially reusable vehicle. It was a bit more complicated than it might have been, so it was kind of hard to turn around. And I think this new generation of rockets, they've learned the lesson. Keep it as simple as you can, make it robust. And I mean, you know, SpaceX, they've flown some of their rockets over half a dozen times, and they took some astronauts up to the space station the other day on a used rocket. I mean, NASA never on its own would have dreamed of doing that with the old Saturn rocket, although of course we flew the shuttle many times. It was just a lot harder to turn around.
Let's talk a little bit more about space travel for tourists. As we mentioned, Blue Origin plans to do just that starting this summer, and their new spacecraft called the New Shepard, named, as we mentioned, Alan Shepard, who on this day 60 years ago made history by becoming first American to fly into space.
Well, I was in 11th grade at the time, and that it dates me somewhat. But yeah, we were really excited. I mean, he didn't get into orbit like Yuri Gagarin did, but still, he was the first American to ride a rocket into space, and he was definitely a national hero. I got to know him personally when I was an astronaut down in Houston. He, at the time, was the Coors beer distributor for the area. He provided the beer for all of our astronaut parties.
Sounds like a fun guy.
Yeah, he was. He liked a good party.
Well, tell me, in that 60-year span from Alan Shepard to now, a guy like me, if I have $200,000 extra laying around, can go into space. Tell us a little bit about that. Just what you've seen in your lifetime in being part of the space program, that we're able to jump huge hurdles just in the last 6 decades.
When Alan did it in 1961, it was considered so risky that only professional test pilots were allowed to do it, and rightly so when you look at some of the things that happened in the early days. And now the fact that we can launch these rockets over and over again and do them reliably enough that we're willing to sell seats to paying customers, and the paying customers have enough confidence that they're going to come. And I have to tell you, once the first travelers come back with their travelers' tales, you're not going to be able to keep people away. It's quite expensive at first, but I hope the price will come down, which is what happened with air travel, of course, as well.
Yeah, that's what I think is going to happen, maybe over the next decade or so. Dr. Jeff Hoffman, always so good to talk to you. Anytime you want to talk space with me, let's do it here on NewsNation.
Just give me a call.
Okay.
Nice. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
All right. Robin Marty, $200K right now for your ticket.
All right.
Now, okay, let's say you really wanted to. How much would you be willing to pay? $200K, I think, is a little out of my price.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, honestly, I love
that he loves space.
Yes.
I have no desire to go.
Yeah.
What were you
I
saying
like
during
where I
commercial
am.
break? You like
So
like Earth.
I probably wouldn't, even if I had all the money.
Yeah.
I think I'd probably not go.
Right. Yeah. I'm the same boat.
That sounds not fun.
You're a science guy. I get why you want to go.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
like,
go.
I'll meet you for dinner back on Earth when you get back.
Yeah.
Just bringing the beer, so I'm there.
Okay, that sounds fun. Yep. Thanks, Albert.